That way you guys can pay attention and you guys don't have to take notes or anything like that. So it's recording right now. All right, so I would definitely do it in scale. Let's just get super anal. I'm going to type 0. Instead of just clicking, I'm going to type 0, enter. That starts right at my 0 coordinates. And let's say the table is roughly 28 inches. So I'm going to type 28. And then maybe it's, and I'm looking at the value down here, and it tells me that's about 15, 16. So maybe, oh no, yeah, maybe it's about 15 inches tall. Okay. So I only did that just so that I have a reference, okay? You don't have to do it that way, but I just did that just so I can have an idea of where things are at. And then I'll just go ahead and add my lines. So maybe that's where the, you know, the first bookshelf thingamajigger, maybe I'll mirror that, right? So I'm going to now go to mirror that guy, and I'll mirror it somewhere around here. Yeah. So I'm also kind of designing on the fly, right? I'm making some decisions. And then I'll mirror that over here, or I can just draw another line here, right? But at this point, I might as well mirror it. Okay, so I have that. So obviously, I want that to be lined up to this corner if I really wanted my table to be whatever, 28, right? So at this point, you're going to type the move command, and then you're going to snap to this intersection, to this endpoint. So I have a kind of a CAD-like drawing that's pretty decent, that I like, right? And so then it's just a matter of cutting and trimming. So I'm going to just trim. I'm going to use everything as my cutting object, and I'm going to start trimming stuff out. Okay, so I have kind of the makings of my table. So now let's give it some radiuses here. So this is going to be a simple fillet command, and I'm going to give it a radius, and maybe I want it about this much round, so I'm going to give it a 5-inch radius. Sorry, Tarot, I started early. My fault. It's okay. It's not you. So, oh, 5 inches too much. I don't like it. So I'm going to go back to fillet. I'm going to go 3 inches. Type 3. So yeah, that looks pretty good. Enter again. So if I do 3 inches here, take a look at what's going to happen, guys. So that's a pretty big radius, right? So if I radius this and that, it won't do it because it's going to have to cross itself. Does that make sense? So this is where you guys have to be a little bit more smart. So if I wanted a perfect circle, the radius should be half a distance of this line, right? It's just geometry. All right, so at first I'm going to just take my distance command. I'm going to figure out how wide that is. So that tells me it's 2.5 inches. Now I can go 2.506 divided by 2, but I'm not going to do that. That's too much math. I'm just going to do 1 inch. So what that's going to do is give me a 1-inch radius here, another 1-inch radius here, and I'll have a small straight line on the very bottom. I'm okay with that. So now I'm going to go to fillet, and then my radius I'm going to do 1 inch from here to here. And then I'll go fillet from radius 1 to, so I have a small straight line somewhere right down here. There you go. That's my straight line. All right. Now if I go 1.2, I would have probably gotten closer. If you were mathematically accurate, then you'd be perfect. So it all depends on what you want. But from a design aspect, I don't mind having a flat spot there. So one thing I want you to recognize that these things are all individual curves. Okay. In Rhino, any lines are called curves. So I'm going to just simply select all of them and join them. And so now they're all one piece. And then at this point, I'm going to do an offset command. Let's say I'm using 3/4 inch plywood, so 0.75 is fine. And it's going to offset to the inside, that way or that way, it doesn't matter. All I want to do is make sure on my cap, right now it says no cap. I want to make sure that I use a flat. So when I do that, I get this little thing. If I have it at none, here, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go to offset, and if I have it at none, it doesn't cap. It's not a killer. It just means that I have to add another line here and then combine them again. So you just bought yourself a couple of extra steps for no reason, right? So you don't want to do that. I mean, there are times where you don't want it to cap, so just know when you want it and when you don't want it. Okay, so now if I select it, they're all one piece. So at this point, I could, well, actually, I should have offset it to the inside because now my table's lower. But I'm going to leave it. Y'all can fix it on your example. So at this point, I can just extrude this thing. Alt-Shift to go shade. And there you go. All right. Now on the Mag table, there is a little radius here and a little radius here. So in this case, it's a fillet, but it's not your regular fillet. It's a fillet edge. This is an edge. By the way, that's an edge. That is a surface. Okay? And the whole thing is an object. Got it? So edge, 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 surface, and these are points. These are control points, the intersections. So long story short, I'm going to fillet. Fillet, and I'm going to pick fillet edge. It's asking me which edges do you want to fillet. I'm going to click that one and that one. Oops, not that one. That one. I think control. Yeah, control allows you to deselect. And then, so once I finish selecting, I have to push enter. And then it's asking me, hey, do you like that? That's a 1-inch radius, right? So obviously I have to change it in all 4 spots. So instead of changing it in all 4 spots, I'm going to click set all. And then at that point I can type 3. And it tells me it sets all my fillets to be 3. That's what the set all means. Or I can go back in here and click and drag that and make that whatever radius I want, right? So you can customize it. And you can go small to big, whatever you want. Obviously I screwed that up, so I'm going to go back to set all and type 3 again. And so it's just giving me a little preview. I like it, so I push enter again. And there you go. So that's that. So now the Mag table has a little handle here, right? So here's a couple of things. You can draw, let's say, you could draw a handle kind of, you can draw that here, and then I'm going to extrude like that. Then I could click on the blue, rotate 90. Okay. Oh, whoa, what's going on here? Where am I? Okay. All right, so I can kind of center this thing and do a Boolean, right? So if I do a Boolean here, what would be wrong with that technically? Yeah, it's cutting it parallel when it really should be cutting perpendicular to this plate, right? The true manufacturing is that the machine's going to go when this thing is flat and punch it straight, and then when they bend it, so good. So yeah, if you guys turned it into me like that, I'd be fine with it. But if you guys are designing something and you want certain things, I want to make sure you know how to control it. So it would be ideal is if I can rotate this at the same angle as that, correct? That would be the ideal situation. So this is where I think this lesson is going to come in really handy. So what I want to do really is to be able to draw on that surface, like if this was a sheet of paper, and draw right onto that surface. So that's where the construction plane comes in, guys. So I'm going to introduce a second tab to you guys today. It's called C-plane. So on top view, if I draw it in top view, I am drawing on this flat tabletop. If I'm drawing on the front view, I am drawing on this tabletop over, from the front side. So every time I draw on a certain view, that's my construction plane. But if I want my construction plane to be here, check this out. You guys are going to use this a lot. It's this little thing with the little sphere looking thing up here. If you click that, it's going to ask you, click on a surface. And I'm going to click this surface. And it's going to ask me, where's my 0? At this point, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to click anywhere. And let me just get my ortho on so I'm not going crazy. And I'm going to just do that. So if you notice here, you see how my plane is on that? So whatever I draw is going to be drawing on that surface. So at that point, I can draw my little doodad. And you can see it's right on that surface. Right? Yeah. I'm telling you, this is when it gets to get a little bit more advanced. And then now I can just extrude curve. That guy. However big I want. Pop it in. So now I'm perpendicular to that. Right? So at that point, I am going to do a minus. Subtract this from that. And there you go. And then to reset this construction plane, get familiar with that, is this one right here called SeaWorld at the top. So that's your default, position when you open up Rhino. Okay? So that's your demo for the mag table.